you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're gonna get down to the other stuff here in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, before we do anything else, just vibe. Cause I always come through. Make sure you hit the like button as you come in my front door. Just vibe. Everything is vibration. Tina Clara Marie. How you doing? Just vibe. We're gonna take just a few minutes to let a few people trickle in, and then we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty. And today, the nitty-gritty is just gonna consist of us touching on the transits, us elaborating on the aspects that might be affecting you. But then we're gonna kick a little knowledge. And we ain't gonna be here for long, so we gotta make it count, baby. Until then, just I don't know if we fighting the feeling, but with the moon in Sagittarius, you have to experience your emotions. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Just let the vibe seep in. How's everybody else doing this morning or this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you are in the world? It's 12:27 in Narnia. Do you know what your motherfucking vibe is? Yo. It don't matter, because I'm always gonna get you right. I always do you justice. I always hit you with that priceless shit consistently. I'm always here if you need me. I'm just an email away. I like that. And if you haven't smiled yet today, now would be the perfect time to do so. Like right now. And if you can't find a smile for yourself, please allow me to be the smile on your face. Because at the end of the day, all I am is the smile on your face. All I am is the motherfucking vibe. I need like 6 more people at least to hit the like button before I get mad and go home. And that's just a matter of respect. You gotta understand, this is not about ego. No, baby. This is about algorithm. It just helps us expand the platform. That way, if you're not trying to hear what I'm trying to say, at least we can get out to the next motherfucker who we is. Yeah, it's about that time for you to open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind just one time. It only takes one time with me. Y'all a little quiet for that 9 vibration. Let me find out this Sun-Neptune opposition is getting the best of you. Not me. Let that moon in Sagittarius pump some positivity into your motherfucking experience. 5. We're gonna get to the knowledge in a second. But first you gotta experience the fire. 13 Moon Lily. What good with you? What's up with everybody else? Heather Nielsen. I will have your numerology reading to you sometime this week. I was supposed to do it yesterday, I ain't gonna lie, and I got sidetracked. But it's a quick, simple gesture. It's already prepared, I just gotta record it. So, excuse my tardiness. Yeah. No, I should be more on point. But I had some stuff to do with my sons and their football practice yesterday, and then by the time I got around to it, I just didn't have the energy to really sit down and record anything that would have been of any value to you. So, patience, grasshopper. We about 1 minute from getting it all the way cracking. Danny, Bethea, Brahma. What it was, mama? Young God. I see you came from some of this knowledge of self. What's the science? in this thing for real. The whole motherfucking vibe tribe and shit. Now we ain't even going there. Let's talk about what we got going on cosmically while we can. All right. So first of all, we have the sun now sitting at 27 degrees of Virgo. So at that 27th degree, that's where the details start to get deep. As we approach that energetic degree of Virgo, that 29th energy, this right here is where the pressure starts to build and where, hey, it feels like you got to get to work. It feels like it's time to get on the grind. It's like, man, it's really hard for you to control your mind. Them wheels are spinning. Some people have a little bit more nervous or frenetic energy than usual. Some people get annoyed a little bit faster. Some people are a little bit more on point. Some people are stuck in the details. There's a lot of different ways Virgo energy works out for us. But when it comes to you personally, the best thing you can do with this energy is adjust your routine and get yourself in some type of healthy process, whether it be at work, whether it be at home, whether it be spiritually, whether it be physically. Use this time that we're in this Virgo vibration to get yourself in some type of healthy routine. And then once you get into that routine, trust the process to pay off for you. Grind, expect results. Grind, expect results. It can be that simple. Yeah. Now, that right there also brings us to the fact that the sun is still opposite to Neptune and trine to Pluto. So you can definitely do some major healing right now if you're willing to work. That's the sun trine to Pluto. If you're willing to work, you can have some major breakthroughs. But you got to cut out the bullshit. See, Taurus isn't in the mix with this earth energy right here. We'll talk about Taurus in a second, but when we're talking about the sun and Pluto here, this is Capricorn and Virgo, so we can cut out the bullshit. All that extra shit, we don't need it. We just need your best effort. Yeah. Yours. Hey, it's the Astro Girl QuicK. What's cracking, fam? And Remy Rain, Sunny Test. You already know you rocking with the best. Now, with the sun being opposite to Neptune, as I kind of told y'all a couple of days ago, that amounts to uber sensitivity. People are extra tuned in. So tuned in, it can cause confusion. Take it from somebody who natally has the sun exactly opposite to Neptune. My own gifts confuse me. Sometimes I pick up on so many different influences that it's hard to know what's going on with me. That's why I need so much time by myself. And this happens to be on that Pisces and Virgo axis. So you're going to have to give yourself several reality checks throughout the day sometimes. And you might need to give yourself some space to healthily process things. That's the best advice I can give for you. Because if you can find some type of creative way to put this energy into play, or if you can find some type of way to parlay it into your divine talents, it'd be great for you. But if not, those same things that make you laugh can make you cry. And so that uber sensitivity and you picking up so much from other people and from the environment and from everything else is really, really gonna start to create some confusion for you or wear on you energetically. So what you do with it is what you do with it. And you just have to remember, no matter what's going on, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. We all have all of this happening to us all at the same time. These right here are universal aspects. So what you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. Now, that brings us to the moon. And the moon is now sitting at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. And that gives you a small boost of positivity for most people, unless you have it square to your moon like me. And Saturn does happen to be square to the moon exactly at the moment. Or the moon happens to be exactly square to Saturn, because it doesn't, you can't mix it up. The moon, the transiting moon, is square to Saturn right now also. And that right there could just raise some doubts. The positivity that some people usually feel with that Sagittarius moon might be clouded with some doubts right now, some unnecessary fears. And so you have to figure out some type of way to deal with them. And a lot of times that means facing them, or just keep going and just allowing things to deal with themselves. But that's hard. See, Sagittarius and Pisces always require some type of faith in that mutable square right there. You have to have some type of faith. And if you can't have faith, then you're going to be really worried. You're going to be really stressed. You're going to waste your energy, and it's just going to make you fucking an emotional wreck. So for me personally, what I see is you have to find some type of outlet, or you have to find some type of way for you to access that part of yourself that believes it's going to be okay no matter what. Even if it doesn't work out how you expect it to, no matter what's going on with you emotionally today, and as this processes through things, it's going to be okay. And the moon is only going to be square to Saturn for a few hours. For the next 6 hours at the tops is when it'll be in a strong influence. After that, it's chill. But for these next 6 hours, there are some things that might come up that raise doubts within yourself. And you have to discern what's real for you and what isn't emotionally. And of course, only you can do that. Only you can prevent forest fires. Now, sorry. That right there, that brings us to Mercury. And Mercury is now at 9 degrees of Virgo, and it's slowly but surely picking up speed. It's not in it's full motion yet, but it's not retrograde, definitely. But with Mercury sitting here, look at the fact that as long as you can be rational with yourself, you're sharper than ever. As long as you don't get stuck on some minute shit that keeps you missing the forest because of the trees, you can be incredibly efficient in your thought process. Now, for some people like myself, this is opposite my moon. And so it creates a certain amount of nervousness. Maybe even anxiety to a certain degree. I've had the Mercury sitting opposite to my moon for 3 or 4 weeks now. And so that shit right there just makes it kind of nerve-wracking. Now, you can do too much and suffer from some mental exhaustion dealing with Virgo energy, even though Mercury really loves being in, not just because it's at home, but because it's so eclectic and efficient. And so it gives it a really major outlet for that mercurial energy. But the thing is, there's also this thing where people can start just pushing it, overthinking situation, overanalyzing situations, and then they don't get anything done because they're still stuck on those details. So make sure you don't be that person. It's that simple. Make sure you're not that person. Now, that right there brings us to Venus, and Venus has a little bit going on today. because besides being sextile to Mars and square to Jupiter, Venus now is coming into this trine with Chiron. And so with Venus in Leo already, it's about you putting your heart into things. It's about you allowing your relationships, your creative endeavors, your business opportunities to bring out the artist in you. Like, no. Let me show you what I can do. Let me show you what this is about. Now, here's the thing. When you're saying, let me show you, you have to make sure that it's just not a show. It can't just be a show. So instead of putting on this display, instill confidence in self, in situations, in creative endeavors, in relationships. And sometimes that takes paying extra attention. So take the time to pay attention to the things that you care about. That's the simple message for Venus in Leo. Now, with Venus sextile to Mars, this is where you beautify. This is where you pretty up situations. This is where you make things, you make things pretty. You make them beautiful. If this is in your relationship, this is where you treat people with respect and honor, and you come in and you let it know, hey, it's me and you. If this is business, this is where you look for the deal that, even though it's lucrative for self, it's fair to everybody involved, or at least it seems that way. See, there's that Leo Libra thing right there. Now, if it's a creative endeavor, you're going to be capable right now of a level of not only finesse, but a level of class that you normally might not be able to access. See, things that are created with Venus sextile to Mars, they seem to have a little extra class to them, especially when it's Leo and Libra. What you gonna do with it? Now, this motherfucking light has me sweating like a slave. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, I gotta get a towel. Shit. Hold up. Now we back. My bad. Now, can you see anything? Just yourself? Woo. Yeah, got me sweating like a preacher for real with this Sagittarius moon. Now, with Venus square to Jupiter, and this being Taurus, this is right here where you, like I said before, you can get too lazy and complacent. You can think you got it figured out. You can do too much, be overindulgent. You can sit there too long. I said play in it, don't lay in it. Not me, I'm laying in it. Yeah, I am. And that also brings us to Venus being trine to Chiron. So through the pride you show, and if you're willing to put your pride to the side, and through conflict, you might be able to, in your relationships, see stuff that you need to work on within self. And it might give you the opportunity through awareness or through experience for you to make things better for yourself. And that could go for both business, for financial matters, or for relationship things with people. And so with Venus trine to Chiron, it's like it's automatically the involvement that you have with other people and the pride that you're putting into whatever you're putting that pride into is going to pay off for you, because that right there allows it to bring healing, because it makes you more aware, because the sun is just pumping light onto a situation or to a relationship, and all you have to do is take action to making it better, and it's going to go for you. And it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. All right. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. You know you're a millennial when somebody says 1, 2, 3. Your first impulse is to say 4, 5, 6. That's how you know you're either Generation X or a millennium right there, because that's the first thing that popped into my mind. As soon as I said it myself, in the back of my mind, the kid in me said 5, 5, 6. Hey, K Woods, I sent you an email, bro. You need to send me your phone number so we can go ahead and communicate better, so we can start setting up to do this live session together within a couple weeks, fam. All right. How you doing, Lucy Moss? Now, that brings us to Mars. And Mars is at 15 degrees of Libra. And that means I got Mars coming into a conjunction with my ascendant. Energy. Yeah, I need that energy. Yeah. I need to add a little action to this personality. Sprinkle a little. Nah, but with Mars at 15 degrees of Libra, look, this more or less just means that we're halfway through this journey of Mars through Libra. And that means we're smack dab in the middle of this stupid reactive behavior. It's not passive aggressive as much like Mars in Cancer, and even volatile like Mars in Cancer. No, it's reactive, and that makes it volatile in its own way. See, people think Mars in Libra, oh, that's... No, Mars in Libra is one of the most reactive energies that you can deal with. And because Mars in Libra is not assertive, Mars in Libra spends a whole bunch of time trying to prove it's not a bitch. But the only way to get things done with Mars in Libra is to compromise. But those compromises breed frustration, which breeds resentment, which brings about anger. And so that right there is why Mars is in detriment in Libra. And that's why this energy is kind of hard to deal with. Now that right there also brings us to Jupiter. And Jupiter is now retrograde, and it's going to be retrograde until December 31st. And with Jupiter, this is where we start our journey through the retrograde motions, because all of the outer planets are retrograde, including Chiron, which is an asteroid or a centaur, depending on how you want to class it. And so, with Jupiter sitting here retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus, think about where we're at. We're smack dab in the middle of that Taurus energy too. So let's look at the energetic evolution. If you look at something going from 0 to 29 degrees, that means we're right there stuck. And so a lot of people, it feels like they're at a place where it's like their life is at a plateau. And even for me, it's like I'm in this place where I'm waiting for things to go one way or the other. But I also now realize I don't need to just be waiting. I need to be moving steadily towards my goals. See, being receptive doesn't mean sitting still. That doesn't mean sitting still. It means slowly moving yourself towards the thing that you want and being open to any blessings that come in the process. Now, when you want to look at the energy of Jupiter being retrograde here, once again, Jupiter's going to blow up whatever it's in contact with. And so when you're talking about a retrograde Taurus energy now, Like I said, complacency, laziness, stubbornness, people not seeing things for their true value, people not wanting to pay what things are worth. You ending up owing money. Like all of that is in the realm of possibilities with this. You just have to figure out how to assess that within yourself. And before I go any further, I need at least 10 people to hit my like button like right now. At least 10. And that's, once again, just a matter of respect. It's not about ego. It's about algorithm. For real. If you here and you ain't gonna hit the like button, what are you here for? You creeping? You hating? You swag sucking? I hope you got a long throat. Now, Watkins Cat House, how you doing? Meow. It's good to see you right now. But that also brings us to Saturn. Saturn being retrograde at 2 degrees of Pisces. And that means, hey, it's not the external situations that are fucking you up in life. It's not your relationships. It's not what's going on. It's the feelings inside of yourself that you're refusing to deal with. That fear of isolation. The things you're avoiding. The parts of yourself, those emotions you're trying to escape. But the normal avenues of coping mechanisms just aren't going to be in place for you. There is no refuge. Why? Because sometimes you just got to deal with life. Everybody else sees. Get your scary ass together. And then that right there brings us to Uranus. Uranus is retrograde too. Saturn is retrograde until November 4th. Uranus is retrograde until January 27th. And Uranus is now sitting at 22 degrees of Taurus. So we're at that critical 22nd degree. We're at that critical moment where, hey, some people feel like they have to do something, especially in the financial realm. Like, no matter what's happening, whether it's because the holidays are coming up, whether because these bills ain't stopped, whether because of the economy, no matter what it is, people have this feeling that, hey man, we got to do something. We got to do something. But the problem is, a lot of people don't have the means to do so. And instead of looking for a new avenue of prosperity or a new way for them to help themselves out, instead they get stuck in their old ways. And that ends up making things worse for them. So at this moment right here, what you got to realize is your situation is unique to you. See, Taurus is about material things. It's also about art. It's about, in its own way, it's about food and the things that are associated with the throat. Taurus is about self-sufficiency. People forget that part of Taurus. Taurus is about solidarity. And so when you're looking at this, and when you're looking at this retrograde motion, like, the way life is going hasn't changed, but the way people feel about things has, and the way people are addressing things has. And only you know what's going on with your personal situation. Uranus represents individuality in its own way also. The individual search for freedom, uniqueness, and individuality. Brilliance also. Eccentricity. All of that. But with this right here, you have to figure out where you stand personally, where you stand uniquely. That means take an inventory of what the fuck you have and what you have going on. Take an inventory of your personal values and seeing how far you're willing to take it and what you're willing to do to prosper. And sometimes that doesn't have to be a bad thing or a good thing. Sometimes it's just a simple change in philosophy. But some people, a change in philosophy is a devastating experience because their ass is so fucking stubborn, like myself. I'm very intelligent and I learn a lot of stuff, but for me to change the way I do things mentally is really hard because I'm a Mercury in Leo. I can change a lot of other stuff emotionally because they're always changing, and my moon's in Pisces, that's mutable. There's a lot of stuff that I can adjust. I can control my emotions. But when I get stuck in a thought process with my Mercury and Leo, I'm really stuck until something happens that fucking knocks me off that fucking platform or knocks me off that realm of understanding or that way of doing things, that philosophy of thoughts or that method of work. And so with this right here, if you can take inventory of your situation, you might see that you're actually doing a lot better than most people, or you actually have an opportunity for you to make things, better going forward. But if you're not willing to take inventory and the first thing you're doing is going into some type of destructive process, or the first thing you do is feeding chaos, the only thing you're going to do is breed discontent in your life, and you'll never be able to get comfortable or feel stable or secure. So yeah. And then that does bring us to Neptune. And see, Neptune is sitting at 26 degrees of Pisces. And man, we've been dealing with Neptune and Pisces for over a decade now. And we've seen the way that the culture has just changed the world completely and how influential these trends are and the way the culture is. But are you a product of that? Can you separate yourself from that? Is your perception tied to the influence of other people? Is your perception tied to other people's perspective? Is your purpose getting confused because of your perspective of other people's perceptions, or because of your concern for other people's perceptions of your perspective? If that's a problem, you caught up, motherfucker. You caught up in the culture. It's not the culture's fault. It's not the world's fault. It's your fault. Yeah, shit is fake. Yeah, shit is crazy. Yeah, there's all kinds of confusion and weird shit and lies and so many influences, and everybody has their own agenda, and reality has so many levels, and all that shit is true. But how is it relevant to you? And the only way for you to know that is to search inside. The only way to find answers is inside. Things are so confusing on the external realm. Then you have to search for purpose inside of yourself. You don't need to find somebody to believe in. You need to believe in you. If the world needs to be a better place, you just need to be a better person. That's what each one of us needs to be concerned with. That's that Neptune sextile to Pluto shit I be talking about. If the world needs to be a better place, it just starts with you being a better person. It starts with me being a better person, but I can't be concerned about you being a better person unless it's me doing my job like I am. But you can't be concerned with everybody else. You can only be concerned with making yourself better. Kevin Fulbright, what are my thoughts on Mars and Scorpio in the second house? I mean, you have a lot of desires and wants, and you're very possessive about those things. There's some definite possessiveness and control issues, and there's this volcanic desire that comes with Mars and Scorpio in the second house. And people can get stuck and they can hold grudges forever. And at the same time, it's sexy, it's sensual, it's powerful, it's but it's the type of energy that owns people. And so when you get into that Mars and Scorpio in the second house mode of operation, where you desire things and you're jealous of stuff, and you have your desires controlling things, then sometimes it can get dangerous. But you're very resourceful. There's others that you're very resourceful. You're very resourceful, if I could say it right. And that just brings us to Pluto. And Pluto is at 27 degrees of Capricorn right now. And Pluto is going to be retrograde until October 11th. Neptune is going to be retrograde until December 4th. And that means we only got like 3 more weeks of Pluto being retrograde. So we're not going to go any further back into the zodiac. It's going to stay here at 27 degrees until it comes out of the retrograde motion and goes direct. And then it'll start moving forward again. And then we'll get into Pluto in Aquarius next year. And so I'll answer your question in just a second, Watkins Cat House. But with Pluto here, it's once again times getting rough, life getting a little hard. That makes people frustrated with the establishment. It makes people not trust the establishment. It makes people want to force out changes. And then when you talk about how it's affecting you personally, times, you know, when they get real rough, a lot of people, they let stress control their decision-making process. They let stress control their decision-making process. And there's going to be 2 responses with this, with the Pluto being square to the nodes. Either people are going to jump into their old school codependent ways, or they're going to take impulsive action. Like, for instance, my lady, she has Pluto square her ascendant, which is also conjunct to the nodes right now. And she is just in this mode where she is not going to stay at her job. And she's a Capricorn. Her career is very important to her, but she has made up her mind that she's gonna, and it's crazy that this is happening on her 10th house axis, her being an Aries rising, is like she is not gonna stay there. Whatever's happening right now, it's affecting her personally. And she has made a choice that she's not settling it with anybody. She's not going into that Libra mode of operation. She's not going into her South node in the 6th house like usual. She's going into her Aries North node. All right, in her first house, in her 12th house. No, this is on her ascendant. So yeah, on her ascendant. And so she's just in that mode where she is taking action, and that's how it is. And you're gonna see a lot of people doing things that might seem out of character, but you're gonna see other people resorting to the same old shit, going back to what they know. People getting back in relationships, and it's not the same retrograde motion. This is different. This people getting back into relationships because shit, it was easier or better that way, supposedly. It's what they know. It's what they always do. Instead of taking action and being assertive, people jump right into a relationship. And it doesn't have to be an old relationship that they're already in, but it's just that codependent way of operating. Instead of people just saying, hey, you know what? Fuck reasoning it out. Fuck talking about it. Fuck sugarcoating it. Let's just do it. Let's just get it. Now, also understand this mistrust that we're experiencing, it is going to cause us to make changes as far as government officials here soon. So as we come into 2024, hey, best believe there's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of changes. The whole philosophy is going to change especially here in the United States. And that could be better or for worse, but it is what it is. It's a process of growth. Now, for you personally, what you can do during hard times is economize your efforts. That means the shit that don't serve you, you gotta let it go. If you don't need it, you gotta kick it to the curb. If they ain't helping you, if it's not productive, if it's not something that's for the best, then you have to detach. That's it. It's not about your feelings. It's about your responsibilities. For real. And I need like 6 more people to hit the like button before I knock everything over in here. I'm a Cancer with Leo placements. I throw temper tantrums. But for real, I do. I really do. Hold on. I got something going on in my inbox here. All right. We good. Now, with Chiron is just retrograde at 18 degrees of Aries still, so that just means you need to hold yourself accountable for whatever you have going on, wherever you are in life, where your relationship stands, whatever goes on with that, you have to hold yourself accountable. That allows for action, even for the things that you allow. See, some people like to sit up and think just because somebody's doing them dirty, they have no responsibility in that. And that allows them to play victim. But you also allow somebody to do you like that. So when are you going to stop allowing it? If somebody's doing you dirty or abusing you, when you going to leave or fight back? You do have a responsibility for what you allow. You do. You do. Now, with Lilith at 28 degrees of Leo, it's real easy for you to let your pride get in the way of the process. And we have to figure out why we give those responses. That's why you do shadow work. Why did my pride kick in when somebody said that and it didn't have nothing to do with me? I have a friend that I'm a part of a Facebook group, and they were posting something about their guy teaching workout classes or fitness or something. And I'm looking at him like he ain't in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hating myself like that motherfucker ain't in shape. Like, but that has nothing to do with me. Like that has nothing to do with me. But my ego got triggered. Like as soon as I saw it, like, man, I'm swole for real. Like I took it personal, but I mean, I didn't never offer to help anybody do anything. It's a trip. It's a trip. Your ego can easily get triggered because you get caught playing into this character. It ain't gonna serve you. So you have to figure out why you give those responses so you can have real confidence in yourself, because real confidence will set you free. It'll set you free. But in order to have true confidence, you first have to be able to acknowledge your weakness. Not exaggerate and flabbergast. Yeah. Yeah. Now, that does bring us to the nodes, which are at 25 degrees of Aries and Libra. So, with this right here, once again, I kind of already talked about it. There's certain things that you just gotta do. You can't wait on somebody else. You can't rely on anybody else. You just gotta do it. You gotta do it for you. Regardless of what anybody thinks about it, You just got to do it for you. Like I said, I was using my lady as an example. I do not agree with her leaving her job one bit. I don't. I'm going to support her, but I don't agree with it. But it's not my choice. That's her career. And I've had to check myself several times through this process. Like, bro, you need to be supportive, because she ain't never did nothing but come up and do what she's supposed to do. But it's, once again, like, she's doing what she has to do for her. She's not happy there. There's that 12th house also in the mix. She's not happy there. It doesn't feel healthy for her. So she wants to do something that puts her in a better place spiritually. So she's doing something on her own. No matter what I feel about it or what anybody else likes about it or whether it burns, like, she's just going to do it. And that's her being in that North Node. And that's honorable. See, the truth is always honorable, even if other people don't agree with it. But your truth has to be what comes out of you. Your truth. That's that Aries North Node. You gotta do it. You gotta live it. You gotta be it. Straight up. The moods, thoughts, feelings, opinions of other people have too much of an influence on you with the South Node in Libra. And sometimes you got to say, fuck that, and just do what's best for you. And for me, what's best for me is going to help my relationship. See, this is in my 7th house. And I'm in my nodal return. I passed my exact nodal return because it was at 27 degrees. But now, it's still in that vibration where it's like, hey, as long as I'm being straight up, I'm being honest, I'm keeping it, I'm keeping it all the way gangster, as we would say, then my relationship is going to stay in a healthy place. I'm going to stay in a healthy place. My life is going to be in a healthy place. But the minute I start sugarcoating shit, the minute I start lying, the minute I start doing things that are really my normal tendencies, being honest, it's never going to be healthy for me, my relationship, or anything else in life. And so you have to see how this applies to you with the nodal axis. And then that brings us to the numerology of the day. And we are in that 9 vibration today. What does that mean? It means today, be somebody who can help somebody. Even if it means just telling them something they need to hear. Even if it means entertaining them for a little bit, making them feel good, putting a smile on their face. Do something to help other people today. And I had somebody in my comments say, hey, I have another numerologist who says the 9 is not the 9 life path is not as humanitarian as people would think. And I would say this. That's because they're trying to grow in it. Now, we're not talking about the 9 life path here, but I did want to address that because somebody said that in my comments. You are not naturally going to be like that with your life path. That is an energy that you're growing into. It's your path. It's not your personality number. That's your personality number. Your path is to grow into a person who knows how to love all of mankind without condition and to be there to serve. And today with the 9 vibration, it's just, hey, be willing to help somebody. Somebody might need an advocate today, especially with this 2 also in the mix, with it being the 20th. Somebody might need a freaking advocate today. Get outside with somebody. Like, hey man, let's go outside for a walk. Let's just get away and me and you, let's build a bond that helps each other build spiritually. Now, you don't have to be direct and you being of service to somebody. Like I said, you could just be creating something that inspires people. That's another way the 9 can work. You could be teaching somebody something. This is Virgo and Sagittarius energy. And that 9 is reflective of Pisces, Virgo, and Sagittarius energy. But who am I but a professional? And with that being said, that brings us to the moment where we can open the floor up for like 30 minutes or so. So, yeah, 30 minutes. So for the next 30 minutes, the floor is open for any questions anybody has. I am at your service. That's what I can do for you. I do have to answer Walking Cat House question that she just asked because I didn't mean to ignore her, but I was just already into my energy. But let me look at that. 9 is beginnings and endings too. You are absolutely right. It's more endings. 9 is endings. 1 is beginnings. Now, I said you want a half price reading, Romy Reigns. So if you haven't got one for yourself, whatever service you choose of mine, whether it just be a natal chart interpretation, a numerology reading, whether it be an interactive phone call or a Zoom meeting, it's half price. And so whatever my normal price is, which I don't know if you've ever gotten a price check from me, I'll give it to you half price. Whatever it is. Now I expect you to redeem it because I need the business. Yeah, for real. But yeah, let me answer Joaquin Cathouse's question. Or where is the question if I can find it? Watkins Cat House. Let me see. Man, I thought you asked me a question. Let me keep going up. Nah, well, ask me again. Whatever your question was, Watkins Cat House, please ask me again because I didn't mean to, I wasn't trying to ignore you and I want to make sure that I got to your question. So please ask me again. And I need everybody else that's here to hit the fucking like button before I get mad and go home. What you think this is? And if y'all gonna mess with me financially today, hit that CashApp. Do not hit the super chat. Let me, matter of fact, post it because YouTube is taking half of everything right now. And shit, I'm trying to go eat lunch. I'm trying to go eat lunch, and I got the moon conjunct my Saturn in the second house right now. This is a Saturn in the second house thing. So let me get this right. Hold on. Astrology Paul Tarot. What if somebody is born on the 27th, but life path is 5, and you don't want to serve people? I mean, here's the thing. Astro Lady Paul Tarot is, as far as serving people, it doesn't have to be direct. There's different ways of you being a humanitarian. It doesn't mean that you just have to be serving literally or working in some type of medical capacity or you giving everything away. Sometimes, like I said, it can be a creative endeavor where you're inspiring people. Sometimes you can be involved with some type of spiritual practice like tarot or astrology where you're helping people learn about themselves and it's knowledge oriented, and that is doing a service, which is something you're already doing. And so, and with that beat on the 27th and that 9 vibration in the mix, like, I would just say there's all types of unexpected, in astrology and tarot is a perfect avenue for a 5 to employ those skills with that 9 vibration in the mix. Because, look, for instance, astrology and tarot is something very different. It's unique. It could even be Uranus based. And I would definitely say the 5 has a Uranian nature to it. And so with that right there, astrology, numerology, tarot, all those type of things that help people learn things, or all those type of things that use spiritual practices in order to really put people ahead in life, are gonna be things that stick out to you, and that's your means of giving service. Don't get it twisted. And you see, Sun conjunct to Uranus also. And don't get it twisted. Like what I'm doing here, this is me giving service. This is a service. I mean, this is what I'm doing. So stuff like helping people with knowledge of self is going to be another one of those things that are on that path. And that 5 just happens to be something that's completely different. And that means your path is completely unique. And there's going to be a lot of different stuff that happens to you in your life. But because of that, you're also a person who has this wealth of experience that you can teach. And you'll have one of the funnest lives that anybody here will ever have. But that 9 does mean on your birthday number that between your 28th and your 56th year, you're going to be doing a lot of service. That birthday number is really central to that 28th to 56 years. So that seed cycle in your numerology. So you have the formative cycle, which is from birth to 27, and then you have that seed cycle, which is from 28 to 56, and then you'll have that harvest cycle, which is from 56 throughout the rest of your life, should any of us make it that far. And so that birthday number is really central to that time in your life between 28 and 56. And that's when you'll probably be using and giving a lot of service during that time. But that's not going to be what your whole life is about. But either way, you have a different path than everyone else. Now, Watkins Cat House, you said you asked about Sagittarius in the 12th house. Or you said, what does it mean to have Taurus in the 12th house? Well, I'll answer both for you, just so you know. Having Sagittarius in the 12th house, first of all, it can mean that you do believe in stuff. Like your spirituality is what keeps you going, whether people know that or not. But there's also a thing where it's hard for you to be positive sometimes with Sagittarius in the 12th house. That positivity can be hidden. Or it's hard for you to seem positive. But you do have a certain belief, no matter how hard things get, with Sagittarius in the 12th house. And there's also, with Sagittarius in the 12th house, there's this bluntness that needs to be curbed because it's not self-serving for that individual. Like the way they talk to people, it gets misinterpreted a lot of times. And people think they're assholes, or they're too blunt, or they just speak their mind too often, and that ends up backfiring for them. So that's how the 12th house plays in every aspect of Sagittarius there. Now with Taurus in the 12th house, first of all, that can tell you that these people right here, as adaptable as they can seem, they can also get stuck really easily. And it also tells you that for them, like they have a real hard time with boredom. Like boredom is their worst enemy. And when they get bored, or it really can cause them to get into some trouble. And with Gemini rising and with Taurus in that 12th house, the sensual things of a sensual nature and money issues, it can be a sore for them. And like when I say sensual things, it means that a lot of the times them in their pleasure seeking or hedonistic ways can really, it can get in the way of them learning things healthily. Or it could also get in the way of their relationships. Or it could also, with them in this way, it could make them, having Taurus in the 12th house can make people come across a little crazy sometimes. So yeah. You said just because you're built like that doesn't mean you have to build like that. So you can choose a different life path number, or would you spend a lifetime swimming upstream? You can't choose a life path number, but when you say spend a life swimming upstream, like you can also learn how to go with the flow. Like you either waste your energy swimming upstream, or you go with the flow and allow life to play out. And that takes you on the path that you're on. If you're resisting your life path, that's swimming upstream. Going with the flow and growing and evolving is how you allow your life path to play out in a healthy manner. And so, yeah. It doesn't mean, saying just because you're built like that doesn't mean you have to build like that. It's not meaning that you can just choose not to be your life path and you can choose not to. It just means you can choose not to feed into those qualities that are not serving your growth. And we all, in some way, form, or fashion, are being influenced by some type of energy. And how we process that and how we access that and how we act on that is going to be how we determine how successful we were in this endeavor here on earth. Oh, yeah. I love being well spoken. Yeah, I do. I really, really do. Now, next question, please. We got 20 minutes. Let's make it count. I could say a lot more about Taurus in the 12th house. Like, man, so much more, but you need to just get to read it. You said, doesn't a 9 get used or abused? Or what I'm saying is learn from the lessons of use and abuse and stop the use and abuse. No, when I say use and abuse, it's just the 9 goes through a lot of stuff where people are going to take advantage of them, and it's because they have such a kind soul, and they have to learn how to keep giving and keep loving despite whatever life dishes out, and without getting jaded. Now, what I'm saying is the 9 is there to learn how to not hold grudges and to keep loving despite whatever pitfalls they experience in life, and keep positive no matter what. Be willing to learn. All of that is the 9 vibration. You have that 9 because of your Sagittarius energy. So a lot of it has to do with you being willing to learn from so much stuff. It's not just because you're abused and downtrodden. It's just like, man, everything for you is going to be about you helping people and you learning. And the more you learn, the more you can help people. And you're on a path in your life that's going to lead you through a spiritual awakening that you're probably here to love and help people. In whatever way. Through the crystal things that you do or through other ways. Even animals. You could help animals. People with the 9 could easily help animals. That's another thing I forgot. Now, that leads us to the karmic debt 14. And having the 14, it means you wasted your life in a previous life, whether it be through drug addiction, whether it be through not following your purpose, whatever it was, you wasted your energy. That's the karmic debt 14. And even it could be in this life, early on in life, if you don't believe in reincarnation. But you wasted a lot of your life. You had wasted potential. You had so much you could have experienced, but you either you were lazy, or you just didn't want to do it, or you were on drugs, or whatever the thing is. You disrespected your life path by not following it. So, yeah, the 13 means that somebody forsook their life path for financial gain. That's what the 13 is. It's like, hey, you know what? I was going to do my spiritual thing, but I had to get this money first. And so it's like you sold out. That's the 13. The 14 is like you didn't do nothing with your energy. You feel me? The 16 is you abused love. You hurt you fuck people over in love. You didn't care about them. You were selfish. You cheated. There's a whole bunch of different ways that can play out. But you abused love. And then the 19 is an abuse of power. You had some type of considerable power at some point, and you keep it, or both. And when I say messed a lot of people over, I'm talking about you hurt people. It could even be genocide. Hitler, Genghis Khan. Those are the type of people who would have a 19. I have a 19. Yeah, I have a fucking 19, man. And so, yeah. And the 19 is not just your birthday. I know there's somebody that had, I had did some numerology research for somebody recently. And they were like, they were going to this numerology calculator site and they were like, well, it says I don't have a karmic debt. And that's because it was looking specifically at their life path number and their birthday number. And if their life path number isn't a 16, I mean, a 16 or a 14 or a 13 or a 19, or their birthday number wasn't, they would say they didn't have one, but that's not it. Karmic debt number is when you have that number anywhere in your profile. So if you have a 13 or a 14 or a 16 or a 19 anywhere in your numerological profile, then that is going to reflect that karmic debt. Now, some are more prominent and some people are going to have several once you look at it from that perspective, but that's how it is. There is no active way for you to calculate karmic debt, and you can Google that yourself. The truth is, if you have any of those numbers anywhere in your numerological profile, then you have a karmic debt. And I need like 9 people to hit the like button for me right now before I lose my temper and start crying or something. I am a Cancer. I will cry. Astrology Poltero, you said, do I think because I have a 19, an authoritarian voice is coming from you from time to time? Because you know one sweet person, but her 19 vibes give her sometimes so much authority in her speech. I think so because I'm an 11 and a 19. And I mean, it does reflect in that in a way. But it also, and it's natural. That's why I know it could be from a previous life, because some people would say it's a new talent that you need to develop. But when I see 0 degrees in a natal chart, I see something that is natural. And so for me, I have a 0 degree Mercury in Leo in my 10th house. And so having that right there, it naturally, you feel me? It naturally puts me in that place right there. And so it also, at the same time, I think that 11 is reflective of my North Node and Aries in the 7th house. That karmic debt 19 is reflective of my Pisces moon and all of that. Like, at the end of the day, I have this voice. I have these skills and talents. Y'all have heard me rap. Y'all have heard me make beats. Y'all have seen me do all kinds of stuff on here. But the fact of the matter is, all of those are just attention-grabbing mechanisms for me to be able to help you. I'm getting your attention so I can tell you about you. I've had a whole bunch of opportunities for success in my life, and they all fell through because my life is not about me succeeding personally. And it's because my success is directly connected to how much I can help other people succeed. You feel me? And so my revelation that I went through in my spiritual awakening, it was sobering, because I am a very, very conceited person, and I do really, really, really have a lot of pride in the skills and talents that I bring to the table. And so as I'm going through this spiritual awakening process, and I realize, damn, it's not about me. It's about what I can do for others. That I was a little salty about that at first. But the reason for that is because in previous lifetimes when it was about me, I fucked everybody over. When I had the spotlight, when I had the power, I abused it. And so this life, I have the power, but I don't have the spotlight. Or I'll have the spotlight, but I won't have the power. And because I'm supposed to use the spotlight in order to empower you. And that's how it goes. That's how you pay back that karmic debt. It's like, man, now I have to use this magic that I have to empower other people. It's beautiful, but it ain't always fun. My Venus in Leo, my Mercury in Leo, my moon in the 5th house wants to shine. It wants to motherfucking shine. But that's not what my life is about. It's not what my life is about. I'm not King Arthur. I know I'm the, and I call myself, my name is Roderick. I want somebody to go Google right now what the name Roderick means. Go Google it right now and come back and tell us in this. I'm not going to say it. I want y'all to go Google. Roderick. Go Google what the name Roderick means. My mama picked it out of a book when I was born, and it's ironic. And I have a karmic debt 19. It's some bullshit. If you have a device, check it out for me. You're tripping. If y'all have any more questions, go ahead. And yes, you have a karmic debt 19, Tina Claire Marie. If your birthday is on the 19th, you have a karmic debt 19. See, I have a 1 as my personality number. And so that 1 comes from that 19. That 1 plus the 9 equals the 1. And so I have that 19 that makes up my personality number. And what's crazy that my personality number is a 1, and I have Mercury and Venus and Leo, and that's my chart ruler. So there's that natural, tendency to want to take the lead and to take charge and do that shit that I do. When you go to looking at your name and you go to looking at your numerology and you go to looking at stuff, you're going to really start to think, whoa, this shit is crazy. Like, this shit is not a coincidence. Like, astrology and numerology really is the algorithm to my existence. Like, it really is. It really is. When you start to dig into both your astrology and your numerology, and when you're able to tie them in without getting confused, and when you start to look at your name and start to think about those things, and you start to think about your life and why the way things like that stuff will make you think there is no free will. Like, you will really start, when you really get as much understanding as I have, like, sometimes you will really start to doubt that there is free will. Because you're like, God. It's a trip. AstroLady Potero, for those of y'all that didn't want to Google it, for those of y'all that did Google it, I asked somebody to go Google it because I didn't want to say it because it makes it pretentious when I say it. But the name Roderick means famous ruler or famous king. And it's ironic that I have a karmic debt 19, meaning that somewhere in my previous life, I had all of that. Look, Watkins Cat House. Roderick is an interesting variation of the classic name Roderick. Famous ruler or famous power. See? Look, that's what my name means. And that's, my mama picked it out of a book when I was born. I have a karmic debt 19. Like, when I say there are no coincidences, it's not me brag like this. I'm not that in this life, so it doesn't fucking matter. And people always try to, well, in my previous lifetime, that shit don't fucking matter. You cannot brag on what you were in a previous lifetime. That's some of the newest dumb bullshit that people do. Or in my previous lifetime, man, shut up. That shit don't matter. You won't remember it. That's not who you are now. That's not who you are now. That's where your energy came from. But that has nothing to do except the residues of that experience with what is going on now. People can tell you about it in past life regressions. You can remember certain stuff, and all that stuff is cool, but that shit really isn't relevant. But yeah, it's like there is no, when you start to look at things, you're like, there is no freaking coincidence. Astrology, I've told y'all before, my chart plays out literally. Is, hey, my heaven, how you doing? Are you asking me about your sun, your Mars, and your North Node in Sagittarius, or are you just telling me? Because I'll answer any question you have, but it's like this. My moon is in Pisces in the 5th house, right? I've told y'all before. My mama is a Pisces sun, Leo moon. My black moon Lilith is at 13 degrees of Gemini in my 8th house. My daddy is a Gemini. He's at 11 degree Gemini, so it's only 2 degrees off. And I moved in with my daddy after my mama died. I found my mama dead at 13 years old. There's some 8th house shit. I moved in with my daddy, who was sexually inappropriate at that time. Went through a whole bunch of crazy shit. Because I moved in with my daddy, I also fucked up my inheritance. My dad snuck and tricked my family into giving him my sister's and mine inheritance, which messed us off of the money that we were supposed to get, that was supposed to help us with our life after our mother and our grandmother died. Black moon Lilith in the 8th house can mean that somebody stole or you messed off your inheritance or debt got into it and took it. My dad is a Capricorn moon, right? He's a Gemini sun, Capricorn moon. He's a Capricorn moon. I'm a Libra rising. Capricorn rules my 4th house. My Mars is in Capricorn at 21 degrees. His moon is at 22 degrees of Capricorn. My daughter, born on January 11th, is a 21 degree Capricorn sun. There's my Mars also in my child. You get what I'm saying? Like in my 4th house. Like it just, I can go on and on and on. I'm a 16 degree Libra rising. In the Placidus system, that means all of my chart is split in half. All of my houses are split right down the middle close to it. Half of it's, my first house is half Libra, half Scorpio. My second house is half Scorpio, half Sagittarius, and then so on and so forth. And I can actually see in my life where it changed. My life was on this Libra rising track. And then I found my mama dead, and there's that Scorpio. I went into a Scorpio lifestyle. And then in my second house, I used to rely on other people for money. I stole, I sold drugs, I either allowed other people to take care of me because I was sexy. All of that shit. But after my Saturn return, I developed a business. I grew. I made my own thing. I started working. I started managing a bar. I finally started having money. And then that's where you see that Sagittarius come into the mix. But it took that Saturn being there for me to learn and grow. Before that, I didn't take care of myself. I've had jobs, I've had other stuff, but I never took care of myself because I always was living on potential or because of the power I had or the influence I had or the manipulations or because what I was doing, I was making money from a nefarious term. The 3rd house. Not only do I have Uranus in Sagittarius in my 3rd house, but I have Neptune and Capricorn in my 3rd house in Placidus. And so one of my sisters is a Sagittarius. There's Uranus, and our relationship is very crazy. Like we don't mess with each other, but we love each other intensely. Like I love my sister to death, but we don't always get along. And then my other sister, her mom is our next door neighbor. There's Neptune. Like she was in our neighborhood. Her mom is literally our next door neighbor. So there it is right there. Sun in Cancer at the 26th degree of the 11th house. Then your friends are like your family and your family's like your friends, bro. Like you have very close friendships to where if your friends are going to be a lot like your family, but it also could mean that a lot of your family is like your friends, and those two groups have to get along and be intertwined right there. and you develop emotional connections with people that makes it feel like, hey, this is a family type thing between us, and that helps y'all really help each other. So there's that thing. You develop close-knit relationships with people within associations, and your friendships are more like, you know, hey, we fam, and this is how this is how we mobbing together. Now we only got 5 more minutes, and I gotta go, y'all. Plain and simple. Now, y'all don't love me, by the way. I love y'all, but y'all don't love me. But that right there now brings me to the fourth. I already did the fourth. I didn't want to do all of it, but yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like everything is just literal for me. But it's not like that for everybody. But for me to be who I am and do what I do for y'all here, it had to be literal for me to understand it and for me to believe it. My astrology had to be literal for me to be able to teach y'all and for me to put any stock in it. Astro Potero, you said 4-7. What would I say about that energy? On April 7th, I mean, you have that 7. And so your life is really about discovering the truth about yourself, a lot of it. And it's going to be serious sometimes, and there's going to be some conflicts that seem like you're having to isolate yourself from other people, but it's just you figuring out serious spiritual truths about yourself in the process of going through things. Oh, what do I think about the 4th of July? As a birthday, I mean, the 4th of July, I mean, I don't feel it, or it's all gravy. You didn't mess up. You just did it backwards. With the 4th of July, if somebody, and I don't really look at the month. I would have to know the year for me to really look at it. But just looking at the date, I'm going to look at the 4. I'm not going to really incorporate the July part of it because I would have to know the year for me to really put the month in the mix. But for me to really look at the 4th right there, that's one of those things where foundations were laid. And it's funny that that's Independence Day, but that's the day that the 4 right there is foundations are laid. And that's where whatever you're doing, you're trying to build on something. And that's something that's going to be long lasting. And it's something that's built to have, you know, strong, firm foundations. Now, Kevin Fulbright, you asked me about Scorpio Mars versus Capricorn Mars. Well, Scorpio Mars it's the type of energy that it's first of all very focused, but it also never runs out because Scorpio Mars can keep creating energy within itself. Now, Capricorn Mars is that type of energy that's very focused in its way. That's why that sextile works between them. But Capricorn Mars regulates the energy that it's always had. So Scorpio Mars never runs out of energy because it keeps creating energy within itself. Capricorn Mars never runs out of energy because it regulates its energy so well. So it always has enough to do whatever it needs. And there's always enough for tomorrow, no matter what happened today. So that conservatism of the Capricorn really helps out with the energetic expression of Mars. And it allows a calculation come into the mix that makes it chess, not checkers. Whereas the Scorpio shit is the same thing. It's very focused, but it's also not ostentatious. And it's very dangerous and volatile in its own way that Capricorn Mars isn't. And it really, you know, looking at the individual, it depends on how it plays out in the house. So, hey, we finna have to go, y'all. I got 2 minutes. I love y'all. I appreciate your love and support. I just thank everybody for rocking with me the way that y'all do. I do need some business, man. I'm telling y'all now, like, I need some business. I'm not just saying it. Like, I need some business. My family needs it. But you're really helping yourself. Now, if any of y'all are interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, don't get at me in these comments ever. No, instead get at me in my email, which is mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And Hey, I need everybody to go join the tribal council at their earliest convenience also. Not only do you get discounts on all of my services, but you also have a chance to be featured that month. You also will have access to me personally at some point. There's several other perks too. You just gotta go check it out. You gotta go check it out. Caleb Woods, the Earthshaker 9th Avatar, is gonna be our featured member this month. I can't call him the king because I'm the king. But he and I will be going live together at some point. We will be giving an interview with him. And hey, y'all just keep it trill, man. And yeah, I think that's it. I love you. I'll see you on Friday. And I might come back tomorrow. I ain't gonna guarantee it, but I definitely will see you on Friday. There's a possibility that you'll see me tomorrow, depending on what I have going on. I have to make sure that I get Heather's numerology reading out of the way. I have to make sure that I get Kenzie's astrology reading done before next week. And then we'll discover everything else. Watkins Cat House, I do see your text message. I will check that out and see what I can look at it and see what I can do for you on that. Hey. I'm out.